Certainly, let's consider the story of the healing of the paralytic, found in the Gospel of Mark, Mark chapter 2 verses 1 to 12. This story exemplifies themes of faith, strength, and health. In this narrative, a paralyzed man is brought to Jesus by 4 friends. Unable to get through the crowded house where Jesus was teaching, they lowered the paralyzed man through the roof. Seeing their faith, Jesus tells the paralyzed man that his sins are forgiven. To demonstrate his authority to forgive sins, Jesus then heals the man, who picks up his mat and walks home. This story reflects the healing power of faith and the idea that Jesus has the authority not only to heal physically but also to forgive sins, bringing a sense of spiritual health and strength. It emphasizes the interconnectedness of physical and spiritual well-being. You may find comfort in reflecting on this story and considering the themes of faith, strength, and holistic health it presents. If you have specific aspects or themes you're interested in, feel free to let me know, and I can tailor my responses accordingly. Certainly, here are a few more Bible stories that touch upon themes of faith, strength, and health. The woman with the issue of blood, Mark chapter 5 verses 25 to 34. A woman who had been suffering from a bleeding condition for 12 years approaches Jesus in a crowd. Despite her physical ailment, her faith in Jesus leads to her healing when she touches the hem of his garment. The healing of the centurion's servant, Matthew chapter 8 verses 5 to 13, a Roman centurion approaches Jesus, requesting healing for his paralyzed servant. The centurion expresses faith in Jesus' authority, saying that he doesn't need to physically come to his house but can heal from a distance. Jesus commends the centurion for his great faith and the servant is healed. The healing of the blind Bartimaeus, Mark chapter 10 verses 46 to 52. Bartimaeus, a blind beggar, calls out to Jesus for mercy. Despite being rebuked by the crowd, he persists in his faith, and Jesus heals him, saying, "Your faith has healed you." The feeding of the 5,000, Matthew chapter 14 verses 13 to 21, while not a healing story per se, this miracle demonstrates Jesus' compassion and ability to provide for the physical needs of a large crowd with only a small amount of resources, highlighting themes of faith and abundance. The Valley of Dry Bones, Ezekiel chapter 37 verses 1 to 14, though not a traditional narrative, this vision given to the prophet Ezekiel speaks to the theme of spiritual renewal and the restoration of health and strength. The vision involves dry bones coming to life as a symbol of God's ability to bring life to seemingly hopeless situations. These stories reflect the interconnected nature of physical and spiritual well-being, often emphasizing the role of faith in healing and the strength that comes from a connection with the divine.
One evening, after a long day of teaching and performing miracles, Jesus and his disciples boarded a small boat to cross the Sea of Galilee. As they set sail, a sudden and violent storm arose. The wind howled, and the waves grew larger, threatening to capsize their boat. The disciples, many of whom were experienced fishermen, were filled with fear and panic. They woke Jesus, who was asleep in the stern, and cried out, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" In response to their plea, Jesus stood up and rebuked the wind and the waves, saying, "Quiet, be still." Immediately the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. The disciples were astonished, not only by the sudden cessation of the storm, but also by the authority with which Jesus had commanded it. Turning to his disciples, Jesus asked, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" His words challenged their lack of trust in him, even in the face of danger. The disciples marveled at this demonstration of Jesus' power over nature, and their fear was replaced with awe and reverence. They realized that they were in the presence of someone truly extraordinary. Jesus, along with his mother Mary and some of his friends, attended the joyful event. During the festivities, something unexpected happened. The wine for the guests ran out. Mary, knowing that her son could do miraculous things, approached Jesus and said, "They have no more wine." Jesus smiled and replied, "My time has not yet come, but I will help." Mary told the servants to do whatever Jesus instructed. Nearby, there were 6 large stone water jars used for purification rituals. Jesus asked the servants to fill the jars with water. They did as he said, filling them to the brim. Then Jesus said, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast." The servants obeyed, and as they poured out the water, it miraculously turned into the most delicious wine. The master of the feast tasted the wine, not knowing where it came from, and complimented the bridegroom for saving the best wine for last. Everyone was amazed at this extraordinary miracle that Jesus had performed. This story teaches us that Jesus has the power to do amazing things and that he cares about our needs and celebrations. It also reminds us to trust in him and his timing, for he can turn the ordinary into something extraordinary. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. I hope you like this video. Thank you.